Hello, and welcome to another Precision Flower Repairs video. Well, as I mentioned in the video about the 332 DC 484 Northern that a customer sent me, that same customer sent me a 313 large motor 462 Pacific. And I mentioned that he runs strictly DC at home and that I had run it on AC, but then also on DC. So some of you might have said, well, show us it on DC. I want to see one of these universal motor, usually run on AC, steam engines, actually run on DC instead. So I thought, hey, okay, why not? Let's do that. And in case you're curious what it's like, then I can show you that in action. This is the 313. It's just as it normally would be. It is the large motor version, which is really great. Needed some work, but you know, it's fast, strong, smooth, and smoky. It's not a real heavy smoker. I'd call it a civilized smoking unit. Smoking is fine, the wick is fine, everything about it's okay. Just some smoke more than others, and if it didn't smoke at all, I would have changed it out, but it does smoke, and enough that you can have fun with it. I think it's actually kind of fun if you have a variety of engines, that they all don't all set off the smoke alarm or fumigate the house necessarily. To have a variety of output from them is kind of a good thing, and fun to mix them up that way. But anyway, here it is, and I am going to plug the KW transformer in the wall, as you may have seen in the video about the 332 DC. But let's put this one into action so you can see what it's like on DC, in case you normally run it, as I've said I usually do, on AC. So sorry about the camera moving around. I had to grab the cord on the floor. And there you go. Now it's in reverse, but the 4-position reverse unit in the tender works the same on DC as it does on AC. So there we go. Now she's come back at us, running around. Just looks like an everyday 313. Little bit of voltage drop down at this end, the far end of the layout, because I only have one voltage contact point when I have the DC apparatus set up. And when I'm powering it on AC with the 30V, I've got multiple power points around both the lower and the upper, or the outer and the inner, if you will, loops. So that's why you see it slow down at the far end. By the time the power gets to that end, it's diminished a little bit. But you know, we're pulling about 11 volts or so, and she moves along rather well with that much. We'll send it up on the inclines. I just had to power up the 30B, so I missed that interchange opportunity. The 30B still drives the switches. It's completely isolated from the DC power of the Lionel KW, but I still use it and can run my switches. And you know I love 30Bs. They're just fantastic. So here comes the 313, off and on its merry way again. We'll open it up a little bit. There we go. Now it's not the smoker that the 332 is, but you know, it's decent. We slowed way down there. That was my fault. I sped it up down the straightaway and then backed off to just a little under 10 volts. There we go. Oh, more up to like 11. Here we are at the low power end of the layout, coming back up to where the one contact point is. Pick the power up just a smidge. That's smoke enough to have some fun with. And again, as I said, everything about it is in good order. The wick is fluffy, the coil's fine, it's not burnt out. And there you see the 4-position reverse unit running just as it would if the 30B were powering it with AC instead of the Lionel KW with DC. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of the 313 universal motor powered Gilbert 462. Run on DC for a change as opposed to what I normally would do, AC. And again, customer runs DC at home. I'm going to run it on DC here before it leaves the shop. Make sure it's all shaken down and ready for him to enjoy or her to enjoy. I believe very much in the real world test environment of a layout, not just at the bench on a piece of straightaway track that hardly shows you much of what it's going to be like for your customer to run it. This layout turns out to be a pretty good test ground. It has the twisty bits here between turnout number 3 and 2 and 1, including a combination left-right with only a little 3-inch or so straightaway between them. A combination turn is a tough thing. I wouldn't advise putting direct combinations without any straightaway in them on a layout. It's asking a lot from trains. But that's a good test for me to find out if pilot trucks, trailing trucks, drive wheels, and all of that are set up the way they ought to, and tenders as well. They're gauging on the wheels. The pickups on them aren't snagging or derailing or doing anything funny. And then, of course, you know, the incline. How does it do with that? And the way down, again, just as important. Plus some long straightaways then to see just how quick it might get up and go. So this has turned out to be a pretty good test ground, if you will, test track to see how things have turned out. And hopefully then once all good here, all good as well for the customer to enjoy at home or their club layout, wherever they might run it. All right, well, thanks so much again for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like more information about Precision Flyer Repairs and the services I offer, please go to precisionflyerrepairs.com. Thank you, and until next time, be well and have fun running your trains.